It's match day in Atlanta. I've got my Five Stripes jersey on, and I'm ready to party. Or I'm ready to be disappointed by my favorite team. Either way, welcome to this kind of special episode of Kicks and Giggles, because this is the first time I'll be focusing on a specific team, and that team will, of course, be Atlanta United. We have a match tonight, and I'm putting this podcast out beforehand as a way for me to talk about our performance in a positive way, even if we don't get the results that we want in Group E, because I'm optimistic, but I know there's a lot riding against us. And I think it's very fitting that there is a thunderstorm happening outside. It adds a nice little ambiance to the scary stuff that I'm going to be talking about. And by scary stuff, I mean how bad Atlanta United has been playing. So we're going to start with a recap of our performance so far. We've had two games, the first against the Red Bulls and the second against FC Cincinnati, and neither was good. We lost both games, and we're the only team in the entire MLS's back tournament that is yet to score a goal. So really, even if we lose tonight, as long as we score, we'll be better than we were. So there's that. It's sad, but there it is. Tonight we're going to be playing Columbus Crew, who have already punched their card to the knockout round, so they don't have much to worry about going into this game, which I guess is good for us. We have a pretty good record against them in the regular season, but honestly, what about this year has been regular, so can we even consider this regular season? Debatable. But for us to move on, there's a lot of moving parts to be considered, and there are so many possibilities and loopholes for us to continue in this tournament that the Atlanta United Twitter and Instagram and everything had to post a video breaking every possibility down for us. And I just gotta say, if you need an informational video to explain how your team is gonna move on, then maybe you did something wrong leading up to this. Maybe. Crazy suggestion. Maybe we should have just been a better team before now, and you wouldn't need an entire TED Talk to let your fans know how they're going to be able to see their team keep playing. But that's just my 2 cents. So, the possible scenarios are, first of all, that we need to win tonight against Columbus. Next, we need the game between New York and Cincinnati to not end in a draw, meaning we need a winner and a loser, but that still doesn't guarantee that we'll move on to the knockout round, because we'll most likely be in third place in our group, so we have to wait for a whole mess of other teams to win and lose and draw before we'll know if we are one of the best, and I'm saying best in air quotes here. We'll have to wait for all those other teams to know if we're one of the best third place teams so that we can move on. The things that we need to happen in other groups are just so nail-bitingly specific that I'll break it down as best I can. So basically, there's 3 groups of scenarios, all based on how we perform tonight. So it's broken down by whether or not we win, knock on wood, 1 goal, 2 goals, or 3 goals up. And if I took the time to walk through each scenario, the tournament would probably be over by the time I finished. So I really recommend you go look at the video that Atlanta United posted if you want to see it all spelled out for you, because they broke it down best, and that's obviously like why they posted it. They spent the time to explain it to us, so we might as well, humor them, even though this is a pretty scary situation for an Atlanta United fan to be in. And honestly, you'd think the more we score tonight, the better off we'll be, but in my opinion, all of the scenarios where we win by 1 goal are more feasible than the higher games for us. Mostly because the biggest problem with our team right now is the lack of a goal scorer, but the less we score, the less other teams need to score to ensure that we go into the next round. So I feel like a lower point game for us kind of takes out some other variables. But seriously, our fate in this tournament is so confusing. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, we don't even know what's happening. But I digress. So, how are Atlanta United going to play today? Well, hopefully they'll play well. But if you watched their awful 9 a.m. match against FC Cincinnati last week, you probably don't have much hope. And that's fine. That's all right, because it seems like everyone involved with the club is a little disappointed, and they all know what they're up against. Obviously, we were one of the best teams going into the tournament. Like, we were probably a favorite to make it all the way through, but like a lot of other high-performing teams this year, we've struggled in Orlando, which is honestly a sentence I never thought I would say. And another sentence I never thought I would say, buckle up for this one. I never expected Orlando to play as well as they are doing right now, which is just crazy. That's a topic for another episode, but oh my goodness. Anyway, back to Atlanta United. There's no doubt that we've had problems in this tournament, and I think they're problems that we've had for a while, and they're just being made worse by the fact that these problems could keep us from advancing. We've never had this kind of consequence to our issues before, so I think a lot of people are waking up to the fact that our poor play is, has a lot more to do with what's going on and off the field than the fact that Joseph tore his ACL this year. I'm going to start with that though, because everyone has been harping on the fact that we're missing Joseph Martinez this season, and yeah, that's not good, but we should have the ability to rework our team to make up for the power that he brings. If you'll recall, we didn't have Joseph for a chunk of the 2017 season, but I remember not missing him much because the team was able to adapt and put Villalba at the top to be the striker that we needed. Yes, we have different players this year, so we might not be able to make a change exactly like that, but what our team did then is not something our team can do now, and that's adapt. In my humble opinion, I think Frank de Boer has a certain type of play in mind, and he obviously has a hard time deciding how to translate that to the setup of our team and the plays that we carry out on the field, because I think a lot of our problems stem from not having a team identity, and that has a lot to do with the coach. We have great players, you can take pretty much any individual from our team and say he's really good at X, Y, and Z, but just because he's a good player on his own does not mean he's going to be a good player on the team unless the coach can balance everyone's skills to create a cohesive attack. And we just haven't had that luxury this season. We are far from being cohesive, and that's really sad considering we used to be such a clean technical team. But seriously, our problem is adapting to new challenges. The guys can't adapt to De Boer, and De Boer can't adapt to us. So we're left with a team that's lacking in a lot of places. Our best work so far this tournament has been Franco Escobar's headband, and the list really stops there. It really does. We were sporadic and uncoordinated in our first two matches. We gave up good chances against New York, and we didn't capitalize on the chances we had against Cincy. And we gave up goals that could have been defended against. And then we didn't even use our subs efficiently. It's just been problem after problem. And in the game against Cincinnati, we didn't have any DPs on the field after De Boer made changes to make up for the fact that we had so many red cards. Again, it's been problem after problem. And these are all just from the last two games. We have plenty of work to do, whether we make it through tonight or not, and I hope that the boys are up for it, because as a team, we are better than this, but the tournament could be the wake-up call that we need to make some permanent changes. So for the game tonight, we need an attack that can push past Columbus and get us into the box, as long as our players take advantage of that space. They have to take their time to actually aim and not overshoot like Pity Martinez does every time he's in the opposing half of the field. So, we need power and we need patience, because we make some pretty rash decisions when we play hard and fast without setting up. If we don't have a technique going into this game, we'll continue to look like a bunch of kids chasing after a ball, instead of a team that's won a handful of trophies in the past couple years. De Boer has been here long enough that, yes, all traces of Tata Martino's men are gone, and that's figurative and literal because Tata's, techniques have been missing for a long time, but now it's literal as well, because so many of the men that he brought to this team moved or retired or have been gone. So it's really like his influence has run dry, and it's sad, but that would sting less if Frank could just get a hold on the team and give us a purpose. It's really hard to figure out what formation the team is going for under De Boer, because once we get on the field, it's just a mess. I hope tonight we can have some clarity and see distinct positions within the starting 11 throughout the entire match, and I also want De Boer to use our subs in a strategic way. This could possibly be our last match of the season, so everything we do has to be intentional. I don't want any substitutes just for the sake of getting someone on the field. I need him to be on the field for a reason. And I would love to see Adam John or George Bello play the full 90 for us. And I do not want anybody relying on Pity to do anything. Just because he was voted South American Player of the Year before we got him does not mean that he is ever going to be the MLS Player of the Year, and we need to stop acting like it. Instead, we need to hold him accountable, or we need to place all of that faith on somebody like Ezekiel Barco. He has the skill and he has the finishing to get us some solid goals, so if we're gonna bet on a single player, please, 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 please make it Barco and not Pity. I'm generally happy with the team, aside from, the stuff that I just complained about. But, I think we have a strong midfield and our backline are pretty great. And I do need to give a shout out to my main man, Brad Guzan, for never disappointing me. But our defense needs to stay strong to keep Columbus from scoring tonight. We need to watch out for Nagby too, because we all know he has the passing skill to make us look like idiots, so don't let him make you look like idiots. Atlanta has been ridiculed enough in this tournament, most notably by their own fans, so just do us a solid and make the city happy. At the end of the day, no matter what happens, win or lose, Atlanta's still going to be my favorite team, and it's going to be nice and normal to have an Atlanta team disappointing me again. But I'm hoping beyond hope that we can get a win tonight, and then that a whole bunch of other stuff happens to keep us in this tournament. But at the end of the day, I hope that, we can at least score a goal tonight. We had potential going into this season, and we haven't seen that yet, so I'm hoping that we can just channel all of that into goal scoring tonight. But who knows? Honestly, who knows? Nothing about this year has been normal. Nothing about this tournament has been normal. Nothing about this team has been normal. So it's really just all up in the air. And I'm excited for the game tonight, but I do fear that there could be some bad omens coming for us. So we'll just have to wait and see. Again, knock on wood. Like I said, I hope Atlanta wins tonight, but I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening to me ramble on about all my complaints and my grievances. Thank you for letting me, have this space to get them out in the open. Again, I hope Atlanta United wins. This may be the last episode of my podcast if I jinxed us beyond hope. So while you can, like and subscribe, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and you can see when I post or update any episodes. Go Five Stripes, Vamos Atlanta, let's get us a win, boys. But it also just score one goal. Just score one. You don't even have to win. Just score one goal, please. Just one goal.